Stoyan, welcome to today's podcast. I'm very happy to have you on today because we both compete in the KK coach battle. Our teams will play against each other, and I thought, what better day or time to have a chat with you? So, Stoyan, for those who don't know you yet, can you introduce yourself quickly?
For those who haven't played with me or seen me on the coaching banners and ads, I'm entirely devoted to MTTs, so tournaments. Been playing for a long time, live and online, and for the past 3 or 4 years, I've been doing coaching one-on-one, group sessions, different kinds of live webinar sessions, videos, all of that. I really enjoy doing it, and I really get this satisfaction that I helped someone achieve their goals, which you don't really have in poker because you're a lone wolf. So that was missing for me. Now I feel more whole and complete doing both.
Of course, I always do research on my guests, and I know you're a coach for very good poker companies or very established poker companies, I have to say. And I would like to talk about the beginnings a little bit before we talk about you as a coach and your journey right now. Because what I'm interested in the most is, when did you start playing poker, and was it something that you fell in love with right away? Because it's how it was for me. I first time I played poker, I was like, that game is for me. Or was it more that you slipped in slowly?
For me, it was at a very early age. I was hooked to sports betting when I was very, very early. It was probably due to my competitive nature. I just wanted to compete in something. And it was also because of the independence that I wanted to gain by making my own money. So I was, I believe, 12 when I asked my father to issue a debit card on his name that I could use. And it was good for him as well. So he could track my progress or gambling. Somehow he did it, although I'm from a very traditional family, ambitious people, well studied. So yeah, it started very early on, and then I found poker online, and I thought it's something like blackjack or roulette, or just I was very young. And then eventually there was this friend who came and showed me one day, well, you can actually make money in that. There are people who are making money consistently in that. It's not what you think you are. It is. And that was right around the age of 15 or 16. And I was competing in tennis back then. But I got a serious injury, so I had to lie down for a month. This coincidence happened exactly in that time. So I had enough time to just spend all day on poker, learning and playing and just, being immersed in it. And yeah, eventually I gave up tennis and went 100% in poker. That was right around 16, although from 16 to 18, 19, it was a period of non-stop going busto and building it up, playing small games live, online. And then around 19, I started playing cash games online where I had a bit more success. Then eventually I got in a MTT stable. It was my second year in university, I think. And soon after that, I had my first big score and built a bankroll where I could travel and play live. And when I started traveling, I was like, wow, nothing else in life that makes me feel this way. I just want to travel and play. I traveled for 5 years. Eventually, COVID came, and I had my first child exactly that year. So I turned more to online poker and coaching as a natural way of doing things. I wanted to be here with the family more and stay in the right time zone. I mean, work during the day and not during the night as much. So bringing a little bit of balance. I've seen a bit of everything. I've been on the side of a gambler in the early days, I would say, and then nowadays I've turned to someone who approaches poker and thinks about poker in a very professional way, where I believe we're athletes and we have to optimize everything in order to achieve our goals, right? And it doesn't matter that you have to give 100% to poker, because you might have a family, you might have different interests, sports, investments, whatever. But just if you decide to devote 30% of your time or life to it, life energy to it, well, how to get the most out of it. And this is a question I ask myself every now and then and make adjustments on the way to be a better man, to be more successful and feel better in everything I do.
I also think the same way that we have to really strive for the maximum. I think that's the purpose of mine when we talk about life purpose, right? Like if we go like super deep here, I think my personal life purpose, that's how I define it for myself, is to figure out where my limits are in every life area. I want to feel life and I want to
Yeah,
see what's my potential. And the beautiful thing is with my job as a mindset coach is that it's not just my journey, my own journey that I can figure that out for myself, but also for my clients.
yeah,
And some of my clients have huge potential, but they unlock just 1% of it. And that's for me the most rewarding thing. I know you're also a coach, so you know what I'm talking about. If you have someone who has huge potential, but he's not using it fully, and then you help that person to really make sure he unlocks his full potential, seeing that is the most rewarding thing ever for
I
me
agree.
personally. Coming back to what you said in the beginning, you said you had one big score. And what I was thinking of was that the moment for you where you said, poker could be something I do for living or full time, basically, or as a full time income? Or was there another moment for you where you realized that's for me and then I'm going all in here?
Well, I think I've been delusional all the way from 16 to 19. I was just thinking I'm gonna be one of the top players, but I didn't have a plan, right? Just by playing, just because I deserve it, because I'm smart. And that's how you think when you're in that age. You think you can do anything. You really overestimate your abilities. Even if you have great talent, you don't really know what to do with it. So it's a very rare thing that somebody young and talented makes it up there and stays there for a while, which is also really important. Usually, most accomplished players, well, they face a lot of adversity. They make a lot of mistakes. They go on big downswing at least once in their career, and then they figure out how to do things better and how to improve all the time and get feedback from people and just ask themselves the right questions. So it's, I believe, very rarely talent. It's mostly just hard work and will. And really, as we say it, who wants it more? It's just that in poker. This is that kind of industry. Who wants it more? That's the question. So for me, I wanted it, I guess, more than many of my peers when I was younger. And I never questioned it. I always knew I'm going to make it. It was delusional, right? But I had the will to face all these challenges and take the beating, a lot of hits and many more bust outs than other players to just be where I am right now. So many years after, I still am doing this. I'm not, the most successful player in the world, but from all of the kids that started playing back then when we were 16, 17 years old, not many are actually made it in poker.
I also always say this to my clients. Some of them, they play PLO. And I always say, as a joke, right? The more cards you have in your hand, the tougher your mindset has to be. Especially in PLO, you have so many swings and you have to be mentally so strong. But I also think a lot of people underestimate how mentally tough you have to be as an MTT player or even as a cash game player.
Yeah,
Mindset is extremely important. And I like the saying, who wants it more? Because that's also what I see.
yeah,
I see this all the time that, people, they're like, maybe it works and maybe let me try it a little bit. Yeah. And the thing is, and this was just the topic I had this week with a client, we all have a certain level of self-sabotage within us.
yeah,
There are some things where we just sabotage ourselves or block ourselves from being really extremely successful. So one thing that helps is that you really commit 100% to it. That you understand things will come up, things will trigger me, I will be sad sometimes, I will be happy sometimes, but no matter what comes up, I'm just going all in here. And that helps you to push through those things like self-sabotage, many other things that will come up. So I
yeah.
really agree with what you said, which brings me also to my next question. How important do you think is having a coach on your side? I know you also coach many poker players, so just very neutral way of thinking. I have a very precise meaning to this. How important is it to have a coach on your side? And not just that, but thinking back, because you also talked about your journey a little bit so far, and you said that you just, yeah, you tried your best and you didn't take things serious enough, maybe when you were younger. How important would it have been for you to have a coach?
It's a great question. Actually, on my way back from the walk that I took before the podcast, I thought about this exactly about this question. because for me, I never really took coaching up to a few years ago when I took some mindset coaching, but I never really took any strategic coaching throughout the years. It was maybe ego, maybe not willing to take things seriously. And eventually I became a coach, so I could solve anything, and I have a huge library, and I don't maybe need that much strategic guidance now as much as a mindset, right? So now it's too late, but I think it would have made a significant difference. When you're in poker, you need a community. You certainly cannot do it alone. Maybe there are like 3 players, 5 players in the world who are doing something like that, still being on top, but they have 2 or 3 people they're talking to, believe me. I've spoke to many of the good players. Everybody has someone nowadays. Having the right community gives you feedback. Even if you are not asking them to work on you and to help you, you're still getting some kind of feedback when you're working with them, even some kind of inner, thoughts and ideas how to improve. But when you have a coach, you have someone who has experience in this, who has turned 100% of his attention to you, helping you how to get better. And he gets satisfaction out of achieving this goal, right? Your goals. He gets satisfaction out of achieving your goals. If you find the right coach, I think it's a game changer. First, because of what I said, somebody experienced will give you feedback how to change. And second, I've found out that it really fuels people, it fuels them, their motivation to do things right when they commit to someone. So when somebody, let's say a small stakes player, connects to a coach who is kind of establishing the mid stakes, high stakes area, he feels like, oh, I'm working with this guy. I have to prove we're moving forward and we're winning, together. I want to make him proud in a way, and make myself proud and everyone else in my family. But it usually has a boost right from the start. And then even if you don't find the perfect coach, because this happens, maybe it's not your guy, you don't vibe together, he has different vision, you have different way of doing things, whatever. It's still, I haven't really seen anyone saying, oh, that was a really bad investment, I took coaching. Because even if you don't get the perfect one, you learn something from it, you learn where to look for, what to look for, and then you get a good fit for you, and it pays so well. It's amazing how people are not getting coaching thinking they can do it themselves. And I'll just use some kind of example. So somebody who fires kind of big on Sunday, whatever, 20, 30K session, well, for maybe 2K or 3K of coaching, this is nothing. It's like 10% of one session for him, and it could change so much that he makes the money back in like 1 or 2 sessions or 1 month. So it's really amazing how naive poker players are, and it's maybe a thing of the ego, but nowadays I feel like we understand a bit better that we're as I said, athletes, and that we need some kind of team. And in future, I believe this will be the case. Well, really top pros will have their teams like it is in any other sport, in any other competitive environment. You cannot do it alone. So believe me, you cannot. Just at least find a mentor, even if it's not a coach, just some kind of a mentor to guide you through what he's been through. Because if I had a mentor, even if I was not paying for a coach, but some kind of mentor, I would probably be much, much more successful, no matter my talent. If I had more talent, this doesn't guarantee anything. But if I had someone to show me a way, I believe that would have made a much bigger difference for me. But that's my experience, right? Everybody is different. So I'm talking from what I've seen with the people around me, clients, and myself, obviously.
It's also something that I experience a lot of time. When I talk with people about the coaching and they're like, oh, but like,
Yeah.
okay, that's the coaching. Okay, interesting. And I'm like, how much buy-ins do you have in a week? And he's like, oh, I don't know, 5K, 10K. And I'm like, it's a fraction, maybe even more, sometimes 20, 30, 40K, right? It's a fraction of the buy-in. And some people understand it, some people don't. I always ask the question of like, how much return of investment do you think this coaching will bring you? That's always the question. And if people understand, oh yeah, it's a positive return of investment, then it's a good investment, right?
Yeah.
So the best example that I can say is, let's say my coaching would cost 10,000 euros, but you know for sure you make 20,000 back. You know it for sure. It's a good investment. I could also charge 100,000, and if you make 200 back, it's still a good investment, right? So the smart people understand. It's the question is always, how much return of investment do I get out of this coaching or that coaching? That's when the smart people fully understand. And A lot of people, that join the coaching, and especially as a mindset coach, I see this all the time, that there are one, two, maximum three things that hold people extremely back, things that act like a wall. They always run against this wall all the time. Sometimes it's tilt, sometimes it's discipline. It could be many topics, but it's always one thing that really, they cannot push
One
through.
big thing, yeah.
And solving those one, two, three things can
Yeah.
have such a big impact on the person, not just when it comes to poker. Some make a lot more money after the coaching, or most, most make a lot of money after the coaching. Some need a little bit longer to make this money back, depending on the stakes, of course, and if they're downswing, upswing, and so on, right? But the most important thing is that if you understand the return of investment, not just for poker, but also for life, if that's a profitable investment, then you should definitely go for it. That's what I believe in. And that's also the question that I ask people. They're like, coaching, yeah? Like, is it a good return of investment? Yes. And then we can do it.
I want to add something to what you said. This is what I've seen very often with players is when you remove that block, being sometimes from the mind, sometimes from just not understanding some part of the game, three in a strategic way. When you remove it, it usually starts a snowball effect. So this guy starts opening his eyes to other possible ways to improve his game or to improve his mindset, and he's starting getting motivation, his hormones are shooting up, he's feeling good, he starts work out more, he feels better, he's more confident, he gets whatever in a relationship with somebody who is at a higher level, and it just works its way up. So it starts as a small push, but over time, if he's doing the right choices, it just could have such a significant effect that it's not 100% invest ROI. It could be infinite ROI.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an upward spiral that you get into.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing that I wanted to know as well is because you also talked about traveling the world and playing live poker. You watched my content, I'm a big fan of live tells, live poker, because you see so much of a person's psychology if you observe that person, especially when the person plays poker, because I believe that poker is a mirror of your life. So if you watch someone play poker, you see how the person is in his life. What were the biggest differences for you when you play online and when you play live? Obviously, you see the person in front of you, but do you have other things that make a big difference for you?
Yeah, it's a totally different game. So when I play online, I really tap into my mind and try to perform at a high level throughout the session, balance my energy, think about how many tables I'm playing, what stage of the tournament, if I want to be playing more or less tables based on certain factors, how I feel, etc. But it's mostly about myself and my performance in an environment that is very tough to beat, but also you need to be really precise to beat it. You don't get as much freedom. And especially at the stakes that I've been playing, you don't get to do random stuff and get away with it. You get punished for it. And when I'm live, I just am a little bit of a player, a little bit of a actor, even if you want to say it this way, because every table has a different vibe and I am playing a role in a way, right? So I'm one way with my family and kids, and sometimes at the table I happen to be the same way, really natural and easygoing, but sometimes there is different dynamics at the live table, and I try to pay attention to that and ask myself, what is the mood of the table right now and how I can get into their minds. What is my image right now? Such a good question to ask. And I even have this exercise when I come back from break, ask myself some questions about every player. So how is he feeling right now? What is his emotional state? Based on the hands, based on what I feel about him. Is he winning, losing, etc.? Is he impatient? Is he, what kind of person is he? And what does he think about me? And just after the break, remind myself and tap into this energy every now and then. So maybe after each break or whenever I think about this, just to make sure that I'm not falling into the trap of playing good, sound poker, because when you're live, it's all about adjustments, it's all about extreme exploits. And that's why when I work with people who are playing mostly live or mostly in small rooms, so I have somebody from Canada who plays in a local pool, somebody from Spain, somebody from there, and it's, guys, I'm saying it's maybe 20% about studying GTO, GPV, ICM, whatever, PKO, and 80% about making the node logs. Because in your pools and in the live game, you can just go way off the charts. Yeah, sometimes you know that. Sometimes you can bluff your whole range. Sometimes you need to give up all your bluffs. And it's pretty obvious if you're paying attention to the people you're playing with. So yeah, when I'm live, I try to tap in more into the feeling, more into the emotion. And it's only in the high rollers that I'm in a bit of a battle mode where I'm focused on, executing in a perfect way these strategies that I've been working on. And I know that people don't have huge leagues, and it gets a bit closer to online in a sense that you need to be more precise and thinking about what you're giving out and stuff. But in a main event, for instance, I'm all about talking to the table, getting as much information as possible, maybe giving out some information. I don't mind because I make a lot more on what I get when I'm talking to people. Also, for me, it works well to engage with people because it helps me focus on the game. It doesn't work for everyone, people get distracted. But for me, I just try to be engaged in the game, present in a moment. And this is how it works best for me when I'm playing live. One more thing I want to mention, I really believe in being present at the table. So it's kind of a cliche nowadays. What is being present? Well, it obviously want to be present all the time, but it doesn't happen as often because we have our own thoughts. And sometimes you're not playing a hand for an hour. I think breathing, conscious breathing helps a lot with that. Even in big spots, when I see a hand that I'm going to play, I just remind myself, well, here, now, breathe and focus on the moment. It also has a snowballing effect because by the time you get to the river, you're so calm, you're so sharp that you can really execute in the big spots. While if you don't pay attention and you play the hand and then on the turn, suddenly you're in a huge spot and your blood starts pumping, your heart starts pumping, it's pretty obvious that you're feeling something. Well, I mean, you're already kind of lost.
The reason why I ask you this question is because a lot of times when people want to become a professional poker player, obviously the first question is which game suits me the best, MTTs, cash games, PLO. And the second question is always live or online. That's basically the first things that we have to figure out. And I started myself as an online MTT player, and I love MTTs. MTTs are amazing. But for example, what the one important thing for me was always to make sure I can play when I want and also like end the session when I want it. So then MTTs are not the best fit because I had situations where I was invited for dinner and I thought, oh, I'm starting my session early, but then I had a deep run and I was on the final table and then I knew I had to get ready, but what should I do? Should I get ready or should I basically finish the final table here? And that's horrible. You never want to be in that situation, yeah? So that was a reason for me enough to change to cash games, which gives me a lot of freedom so I can start and end the session when I want. These are important things to consider. Which kind of person are you? Because I also work with a lot of MTT players and they say getting to a final table and then, seeing the final people who are left and then, eliminating one person or another one, getting closer and closer to the win. That's this rush, this adrenaline. That's for me the thing that makes an MTT so special, which I also agree. Like everyone has its preferences. And then of course it comes down to online or live. I think, to be honest with you, I agree with everything you said. I think you want to have both because you need a different skill set for as an online player and a live player. The problem that I see with people who only play live poker is that if someone only plays live, they don't get as many hands, not many reps in as an online player. And the problem that I see when someone only plays online is that as soon as they play live, they give away the whole hand instantly, right? Like it's so obvious what they have and you can exploit them so easily. So you need a different skill set. I always think you should prioritize one a little bit more than the other. Depends which one you like the most. Because I don't think if you just split it 50-50, you can develop it at the same time. So the one you like more, that's the one you should go put a little bit more focus in and then develop the skill set as a whole. I think that's a strategy that I would always recommend. What's your take on that?
Everybody has his own way of doing things. And as a coach, I often talk about mindset and ask them about their whole system of doing things and try to support a player in their own way, in their own style. I try to sharpen their own weapons, not give them my way of doing things, right? So it's very different for everyone, but we also need to be open to other ideas, and maybe we have a weapon somewhere hidden we haven't found already, right? So it's good to explore different paths, just as a general advice. For me, live games, they really require a specific skill set, and I feel I could do best over there based on my own strengths and based on the fact that we're just fighting against each other, looking each other in the eye, and it's a bit of a direct clash, which I feel ready to take on. And I know how to prepare for that better than other people. Compared to online, where nowadays you're not really sure what's happening on the other side. If this guy is using some kind of help, there's a lot of talk about RTAs. I don't want to discourage people from playing, and I really hope there'll be a sound solution to that in the near future, but for now concerns are still there. I still play online, don't get me wrong, but it's a bit of a hard to know what's going on the other side. If you keep winning, well, keep your strategy. I might be able to help you win more online. But certainly you need both. Even if you're a live player and you make all the money live, as you said, you're getting a lot of reps in online. So you can train on different stages of the tournament, different spots that come up a lot more often. So for instance, maybe you want to induce with a 10% lead on the river and then jam over his race. Well, this will almost never happen in a live game, right? You need so many hands and tournaments and months to get even one spot. But online, you might get few spots in a month, and then you study them, and that's how you get better. So this is part of my routine as well, to just be marking hands and going over them and trying to figure out ways to exploit my opponents and maybe find weaknesses in my game. So certainly playing online helps a lot, but yeah, I believe you need both to get to the top, because nowadays it's just, I mean, the live games are getting better and better. So if you're an online player with all the skill set for online, well, you should probably at least give it a try and talk to some people around you who are good at live, and just get out there, get some experience. Eventually you'll get better, even if you don't feel comfortable right now, because live main events are huge, and they're getting bigger and bigger every year, and live high rollers are not as tough. So for instance, live whatever 10k 25k could be softer than an online 500 buy-in tournament. So it's worth considering all the options that you had on the table as an MTT player.
Let's talk about longevity in poker. I think that's also something that is extremely important. You've been into the game since many, many years already. So the first question that comes to mind when we talk about longevity is, how do you keep pushing yourself? How do you keep the motivation high to always improve yourself? And how do you keep the fun in the game? Because at the end, that's basically why we play.
I'll start with the easy answer. The fun in the game I keep by having a great community, so good players that became my friends over time, and we're having fun on the way, discussing hands, and even sometimes, posting what somebody did, but not to mock him all the way. Sometimes people be doing that to make themselves feel better. But yeah, it's just really having fun. And I had a dream a few days ago. I saw Grigor Dimitrov, who is the top Bulgarian tennis player, used to be number 3 in the world. I used to meet him sometimes when I was younger, because where his club is 1 hour away from my town. And he was a sensation back then. At 12, he won the European Championship. He was certainly going to be top 50, maybe top 10 in the world. I thought he's going to be number 1, but obviously I was biased. Well, I got close. He was number 3. He was the one that was having the most fun on the court back then. And in my dream, I saw him moving from being really serious about it, because his father, who was his coach, was really strict. So he was serious about it. He had no choice, right? But at the same time, he was the one who was having the most fun. He was kicking the ball and playing little games like on the small where your serve had to hit. I think it's called T in English. I'm not sure. But he was inventing different kind of games just to have fun, but stay on the court. And when I woke up, I felt like, oh, maybe I'm being too serious, and I don't really play these games anymore because I'm telling myself I don't have the time. But what if it makes my life easier? What if it makes my path more enjoyable and I feel better at the end? So having fun on the way is really important. Fuels your drive, makes it easier, makes you more engaged, makes you think about different ways of doing things. That's something people underestimate, having fun on the way. So when we're talking about longevity now, a bit more serious answer, you need two things. First of all, you need to ask yourself, what are you capable of giving to poker right now? And this changes over time, because when you're 20, you can give 100%. You can maybe even sleep for 5 hours a night, or 4 or 2, and still be grinding the next day. When you're 32, it's not as easy. Nowadays, I ask myself and my clients and my friends also, poker and outside of poker, how much are you able to give to poker? So there's this example somebody gave. If you have 10 balls and a few buckets, so let's say one bucket is your poker or your professional development, one bucket is your physical development and health, one bucket is your family, one bucket is social life. You have to put these 10 balls in these 4 buckets, and you have to decide how many balls to put in the poker bucket. And if you have a family, if you have a business, if you have friends you want to be spending time with, if you have hobbies and stuff, they're taking out. So you have to be honest with yourself. Now I can give 30% to poker. I can only put 3 balls there. That's the most I can give. So be honest with yourself, how much. And then when you know that, you can adjust your goals. So it's realistic, and also you don't have any kind of expectations about yourself that are bringing tension, that you could do what you could be what you were doing 5 years ago when you were like 100% in poker. You had 9 out of 10 in poker. You didn't even care about anything else. So that is that. And then how to make it work. So how to really get everything out of this 30% that you devote to poker. What is the smartest way of doing it? This is something that I ask myself very, very often. Because for me, it's obvious that I cannot put 9 out of 10 in poker anymore. I have many things. And although I wish to be better and I wish to be more successful, I cannot really not spend time with my family and not take care of my health. These are constants in my life. They're going to take something out of poker. But also they're going to give something to poker as well, because they bring me motivation. So my family, this is the biggest motivation, right? So maybe in that 30% that I devote to poker, if I do it in a smart way, I can get much more than what I was getting back then when I was giving 90% to poker. So now we're coming to the system that I believe has helped me throughout time to face challenges, to overcome obstacles, to really get the most out of it, although I have less resources, a lot less, right? So for me, having a solid system gets you there and helps you stay there no matter what life throws at you. It could be downswing in poker, it could be downswing in life, it could be a black swan event, it could be anything. But if you have a system that keeps you on the right track, I think you have a recipe for longevity.
Nearly my last question for today. You also told me that you have a family. You have 2 kids now. They're very young. How much did this change for you when it comes to longevity and your motivation? Was that a game changer for you? I know having kids is always, something that takes a lot of time away from poker. So you also you have a lot of responsibility that is added. But how did this affect you, having a family, having kids?
For the poker dads out there, it's a complete game changer to have kids and stay in poker. Really shout out to all the dads out there. It's much harder on them. I know that from my own experience, but also that life shows you the right way, because now you don't have time to waste. Your priorities are set in the right way. And although you don't get enough sleep, you're torn apart between making money for the future of your family and spending the moments now that are never going to come back, especially when your kids are really young. All the other challenges that you might have, for me at least, they're showing you the right path for you as a person. And I see the biggest growth in my friends and I interact with. When they get kids, they just become straight to the point. There's no more time to waste. You realize how important each move is. But this brings another challenge because of how much you want to make it for your family and for everyone. As a dad, kind of want to push harder and harder and harder and make a compromise with yourself, with your sleep, with your energy. And then you wake up, you have to work out because this is on your plan. And then you are doing coaching or you're doing something, and then you're playing a session, and then you wake up during the night a few times because of the childhood. Anything that happens on the way brings you closer to burnout if you're not aware of how you feel. and if you don't do anything to find a balanced way of doing things. And this balance is never achievable, right? I'm just saying you need to be closer to what you think or what you feel is balanced for you, because I see so many people burning out because of this urge of, let's do it, let's make it, I want to make it for them, it's not even for me anymore, I don't even want to buy the watch or the car or the whatever, I want a house for my family. It's usually what happens, right? I want this for I want freedom for my family. Me, what I want to buy my own time, right? I want to have enough money and success and passive income and whatever is out there to allow me to have the freedom to spend the time the way I want to spend it. And right now I'm on the grind. I'm doing many things, right? But I don't forget that if I put too much emphasis on work, I might be out for a month. So this is I think the real challenge. Eventually stretch yourself out, stretch yourself out, stretch yourself out, and you figure out the way to do 10 things instead of 2 things. But how to do it in a balanced way, this is the real challenge. It's very individual, but as long as you're paying attention to it and being aware of it, usually happens by burning out and learning your lessons. But just saying, if you're paying more attention to it, I think that's a good way to start.
I'm not a father myself. I don't have a family yet. But I worked with many poker players who are fathers, and they all tell me the same. They always say the one thing that they regret the most is not seeing their kids getting older and growing up. That's the one thing that they always regret if they play too much poker. But since they usually work with me, I remind them and wake them a little bit up and say, hey, it's good that you are successful in poker, that you want to be as successful as possible. But still, don't forget that your kids are only young ones. Yeah, they're 3, 4, 5. It's only one time. Yeah, so every single day counts. And as you said, I like it. Yeah, you want to have a system in place. You want to have balance, and you will never achieve 100% balance because things always change as well. Yeah, life is not linear. Life is always fluctuating. But you can try the best, and you can try the best, and you can always make sure that you prioritize the right things. I think that's how it starts. Prioritize the right things and enjoy every second. Sometimes even if they wake you up at night, it might be annoying, but it's also something that is part of the journey of your kid and your journey. So it's also a little snippet of life. And yeah, so that's basically one thing that I always get.
The life hack that I'm using for this is just turn it into a joke or laugh at it, even if it's a tough moment, find a way to laugh, just instead of thinking, oh, this is so tough, why does it have to happen, I have a session tomorrow, I have day 2, blah, 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 blah. No, man, just have fun with it, because it makes it easier. I learned that from a friend, let's say, who is a great example. She went through a lot, but always smiles and laughs all the time. And I'm like, this should be a mask. And she's like, no, it's not a mask. It's me. I just learned to be this way, because otherwise it's tough. And this makes it easier for me. So for all of you that are having challenges with kids, just find a way to laugh at it and make fun of yourself, make fun of them. One more thing that I believe is really important is to build in some gratitude and some daily practices in your routine. Again, the recipe is different. I've tried everything I heard and read about, and my routines have been changing throughout the years. But for me, what really works is having a gratitude practice, even reminding myself in the morning, in the night, what I have in my life that I'm grateful for, really helps me feel better in first place, but also switch my mind on different frequency. So there is a lot of good things, a lot of bad things you could say happening to you. But then, do you focus on the good things? Do you focus on the bad things? Well, this is the mindset. You don't want to be spending more times on the bad things, even if you're in a downswing, even if you're in the worst period of your life. Acknowledge it, about it, make the right steps, but make sure you work on your mind so that your mind can filter the good things and give it to you, and so that you have a pleasant experience today, right? And this will have a great effect over time. Also, what has helped me and many other people is journaling. Who hasn't tried it, I think it's just a great practice. So how I do it nowadays, in the morning, I'll write my day every day, all the things that I have. hour by hour how everything will go. Then I'm flexible. I move things around sometimes, but what are my top priorities? What is on my mind? What has been bothering me? What anything, right? I offload my mind and then make a plan for the day. What are the top priorities? How I'm gonna hit them by making a schedule. And then in the night, I reflect on that. I reflect on how I did today. And yeah, I mean, I said it's been changing. So I've been doing many different things throughout the years. But the one thing that I feel helped me the most is probably having gratitude practice, especially in the tougher moments.
Stoyan, you shared amazing things and I really enjoyed our conversation. Last question before I let you go. Anything you want to mention, you want to share? I know you coach people, maybe something where people can reach out to you, anything to share.
I'm happy to be working with the people that I'm working, and all of them who asked for my work as a coach. It means a lot because this fulfills my purpose, my deeper purpose in a way, to give back, to teach someone based on my own experience how to be better at what they do. So I'm not taking that many students, it's usually the process of where I can help the most, not about getting as many work hours anymore. So that's something I really do with my heart. And there was someone who actually asked me, how are we going to go about coaching? Because he's playing in the small pools in Spain. And I said, I'm going to be watching your content. I want you to record videos. I want to feel how people are playing against him. He's like, you're going to spend so much time. How am I going to pay for time? I went, no, I just want to really help you, because if I coach GTO, it doesn't help for you. You need node logs. I need to understand the players you're playing against. So whatever I do, I try to put my heart into it. And that's how I feel it works best for me and for most people. Just be naturally engaged in what I'm doing because I like it, because I like doing it. Sure, it's important to have stable income, and sometimes we have to do things that are not really pleasant and we don't feel like doing it. But looking at the big picture, if you're on your purpose, if you're doing something that you love doing, the hours don't really matter, because you're getting satisfaction. You feel great about doing it. And for all the tough moments, I just want to thank all the people around me, mostly my wife, who's been there, the most supportive partner I could ask for. It's just unbelievable what the right woman can do. If she stands with you, it's just hard to really articulate how big is that for me. And yeah, all the friends that have been there next to me throughout the years, all the wins and losses, the support system, I just think is the most important thing. No matter how good your strategy is and your knowledge and your experience and everything, you need a support system. So I'm really, really thankful for the support system that we've built together. And yeah, it just fills my heart to be here surrounded by these people. So thank you.
Amazing, amazing. These are amazing words to end our podcast. I really, really enjoyed this podcast, Stoyan. Thank you so much for this conversation and this interview. It was a pleasure. Of course, I will put still your links to social media if people want to get in touch with you, if want to know more. I will put it down below in the description. Thank you so much.